Savidge Kitchen. Today, we are going to be making my entry into the 2021 Mr. Black Coffee Cocktail Competition. I have a soft spot in my heart for Mr. Black and this competition in particular because round about this time last year, they had their first coffee cocktail competition, and I was just getting into this whole cocktail adventure, and I decided I was going to come out of the gates swinging. And I submitted a recipe for the first week that ended up winning. So I feel a little bit of pressure this time to perform to that level again. But all kidding aside, this is actually super, super fun. My cocktail this year is very different from my cocktail last year, but is also delicious. So I hope you enjoy. I hope you try and make this at home, and leave me a comment below. Tell me how it goes. So for last year's competition, I made a black lavender latte. I'll put a link to that up here, but that was a warm drink with cognac and Mr. Black and lavender syrup. This is totally different. This year's cocktail was inspired by one of my favorite sweet treats. That would be a cinnamon sticky bun. I feel like almost everybody around the world can understand what a cinnamon sticky bun is. It is the glorious union of butter and sugar and cinnamon in this knot looking thing. I couldn't tell you in a million years how to make this because I'm not a baker, but I do know how to turn it into a cocktail. When thinking about how to turn a cinnamon sticky bun into a coffee, I decided to sort of dissect what it is about a sticky bun that I love. Aside from butter, because, you know, butter. It's the fall flavors. It's the cinnamon, it's the sugar. I personally have a deep affection for the old school gas station pecan sticky rolls that come like in a pack of 6. They remind me of road trips when I was a kid. And I decided we absolutely can put that into a cocktail. So, things you're gonna need. First, get your Mr. Black. Then my original recipe spec for the competition, I used a rye. In particular, I used Redemption rye. Today, I decided I'm gonna try this with bourbon instead of rye. One, because I love bourbon. The bourbon told me to. And two, I really do think that this is the type of cocktail, sort of like a Manhattan. Like if you were to order this off of a menu, I can absolutely see your bartender saying bourbon or rye. So depending on your taste, if you want something that's a touch sweeter, I would go with a bourbon. If you want something that's a touch spicier, I would go with a rye. And today we are going to use this Uncle Nearest 1856. This is fantastic. I'm actually going to put a link to the Uncle Nearest website below that has like a little mini documentary on the story of Nearest Green, Nathan Nearest Green. It's incredible. I've talked about it before. Just go watch that video. Then we are going to add some Drambuie. I just did a tasting video on Drambuie. This is a Scotch-based spirit, but it's notable for its tones of honey and other spices, and it really gets us, it sinks us right into that cinnamon roll lane. Then we're just gonna do a touch of Allspice Dram. I would say any liqueur you have that has a slight hint of clove to it. Falernum might be a little too clovey. But an allspice dram or even a cinnamon liqueur will work in a pinch. And then finally, aside from our ginger bitters from Hella, which are amazing, we have this homemade Pecan Orgeat. Now, I have an entire video on how to make this orgeat. I have another cocktail that uses this orgeat. This is the star of the show. This is going to take all of these flavors and bind them together and add just a little bit of nuttiness. Oh, and it's so, so good. This is batch number 7. I have been making this pretty much nonstop since I started with it. Trust me, this won't go to waste. Definitely make yourself some Pecan Orgeat. So first thing we're gonna do is actually gonna do the rim on our glass. I'm just gonna dip this in a little bit of simple syrup. And then we're going to be coating this with a cinnamon sugar rim. Doing this first because it's gonna be impossible to do it after. And the cinnamon sugar is going to be the thing on this cocktail. This is actually the only cinnamon element in this cocktail, and the scent of it as you're drinking is divine and instantly reminds you of a cinnamon sticky bun, and then the actual sugar rim tastes just like a sticky bun. It's delicious. We're going to be taking 30 ml Mr. Black. Whoa! Shit. Oh my God. It was worth the mess. So 30 ml of Mr. Black. Try not to spill it, and if you do, just lick it up. Then 30 ml of your rye or your bourbon. Today we're going to try bourbon. $30 ml Drambuie. So good. And then 30 ml of our Pecan Orgeat. I'm kind of sad that this one's dwindling. Ooh. If you want it less sweet, you could add less Orgeat, but by doing that, you are going to dial back on that nuttiness a little bit. And surprisingly, this is not an overly sweet cocktail because of the bourbon and because the Mr. Black is not overly sweet. Then finally, we're going to add just 10 ml of Allspice Dram. A little goes a long way. And then just to spice things up a little bit, some ginger bitters. A lot of ginger bitters. I love throwing bitters in for whatever reason. All right, ice in the shaker. Give this a really good shake. Sure. Okay. This is so good. Woo. So pretty. Let's give this a taste. Oh my God. So the bourbon with this, very, very good. Stand by my first comment. If you are a bourbon drinker, I would recommend doing this cocktail with bourbon. If you are a rye drinker, I would recommend doing this with rye. I do think that with the bourbon, the Allspice Dram is a little bit more present. I taste it more because I'm missing the spiciness of a rye. Really, really good. I might just dial back that Allspice Dram even a little bit from the 10 ml absent the rye. Oh my God. So let's have it with our sticky roll. Malling pastry. Okay. They're just so good. Thank you so much for watching. If you're having fun, like, comment, subscribe, go vote. Sticky coffee. I'll put the link below. Go get yourself some Mr. Black. Cheers, friends.